Hi everyone, it's Olga Zarr from SEOSLY. Welcome to SEO podcast by SEOSLY. Today I have a special guest. This is Natalie. Natalie, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Olga. How are you today?
Yeah, I am great. I am still still getting back to reality after vacation, even though it's been a month since I came back, but it's still very busy.
It's always
Yeah.
difficult, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Can you briefly introduce yourself to the audience in case someone doesn't know you? But I remember you very clearly from the live launch, I think, of the book, SEO in 2023 or two. I don't remember.
I've been on both of them. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Okay. So
Natalie.
both.
I'm Natalie Arney. I am an SEO consultant based in Brighton in the UK. I work across all three pillars of SEO and I help all kinds of businesses with all of their SEO needs and customer acquisition needs.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. So you are, so you have your own consultancy, or do you work somewhere?
So I work for myself. I'm freelance, and yeah, I work with all different kinds of businesses.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great fun.
Okay, so just like me. Okay, so let's get started with the beginnings. And can you tell me when you started your journey with SEO and like what year and how it all started?
Yeah, like many people, I stumbled across SEO. Um, I in a previous life or a previous career, I taught business studies and information technology or
Uh-huh.
computing at a secondary school. So I taught 11 to 16-year-olds, and yeah, I got ill and I needed a new career because obviously when you're dealing with chronic illnesses and teaching is difficult for people who don't have chronic illnesses and you're working long
Yeah.
hours for not the best pay, although it's really rewarding as a career. I needed to find something that I could match my skills up. I've got a marketing degree and I'd been doing PR in a voluntary role for guiding in the UK in my local area. And one of my friends who worked at an agency in Brighton, um, she knew that I was looking for a new career, and she thought that I would suit SEO because yeah, it covered all of my knowledge from about marketing and about well, I taught kind of really top line back in the Dreamweaver days of
Uh-huh.
building websites and obviously Flash RIP.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I was able to obviously bring my tech skills and my kind of marketing and PR skills over to SEO. I started off as a content intern in an agency in the area, and then what I then did was I kind of went to the more kind of digital marketing executive roles for a couple of years before specialising and going into Jellyfish and becoming an SEO executive and kind of
Mm-hmm.
really progressing through there, and making sure that my knowledge was was as was as much as as I wanted. So yeah, I've worked in house but also agent. So a lot of my work I've done agency side, and then yeah, I went in house in 2018. I was able to build my own team, or maybe it was
Oh,
2017, I think it was.
okay.
And basically, I was in a scale up. So a business that had been running for a number of years, but wasn't really getting what it needed in terms of attention to growth.
Mm-hmm.
They brought on a new MD and they hired a really good dev team and really started to focus on building the business out. And then I was part of that. And I headed up the marketing department, built my team from myself and a couple of interns to myself and a 7-strong team. All of which, they're all fantastic marketers and fantastic SEOs. And yeah, the growth there was fantastic. And then I left there. looking to kind of grow my career even further. And the next step for me, I felt, was to go freelance. So yeah,
Wow,
that's
that's
in a
very, very,
nutshell how it all
yeah,
went.
that's really varied experience, and your
Mm,
set of skills from your previous life really seems like ideal for that.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah, so what was exactly the year you started? Kind of you dropped that previous career?
So I started in 2012. So I finished
Okay,
teaching in 2012, and then I got my first proper like executive digital marketing executive role after the internship in the autumn of that
okay.
year. But I did the internship in about May 2012. Yeah.
So more than 10 years into
Yeah,
SEO,
just
yeah.
over now.
Nice, nice, nice. I'm also like around 10 now. It's hard for me to exactly say whether it was 2012, but around that time as well.
Mm, mm.
Okay, so you started freelancing, and what were the beginnings of that? Did you start when you had a client already? Because this is something I have also done recently, like
Mm,
in November, in October, I went fully freelance, and I was preparing, waiting for that for many years. And what
mm.
about you?
So yeah, I was similar. So I didn't have when I left my role, I did have a client. So I waited until I did have a client so that I knew that I was able to pay my bills and things.
Uh-huh.
I know that some people are privileged enough to not be able to have to do that. But yeah, I was waiting for a client. I was offered a contracting role, and then I was able to then bring on additional clients, and I kept the contracting client for well over a year or two.
Uh-huh.
I finished working up with them in the autumn last year. I worked with them on all kinds of things, lots of migrations, lots of
Oh,
site acquisitions, and all kinds of things like that. And they're a fantastic team. And then yeah, I've got my own clients that I work with. But yeah, it was a kind of wait until I got something that I was then able to progress into. I had the clients and the kind of having the guarantees that I was able to pay my bills was obviously a priority for me. So yeah, I made sure that I had that, and then I went from there.
yeah, yeah, similar with me. Yeah, I also needed to have a bunch of clients before I made that decision. Can you tell more or less how many clients do you have, or if is it just you, or do you have someone else to help you, like a VA or some business partner?
So mainly me.
Uh-huh.
I do have my obviously accountant and things like that, and financial advisors, and
Uh-huh.
I'm not very good at kind of like the accounting side of things. So
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
my priority when I went freelance, was to find myself a good accountant. That was like top of my list. And yeah, I found a fantastic accountants that I've been with from day one. They were recommended to me by a friend, and obviously, word of mouth is so important. So yeah, I made sure that I've got my own accountant. They're really proactive as well. So I think top tip, if anyone's figuring out to go freelance, um, make sure that you get yourself a good um,
Uh-huh.
reactive and proactive accountant that's able to give you good advice, and not have to wait for you to tell them to do something, or they will ask you and inform you about things.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then I have a VA who helps me with the kind of the more admin side of things as well, so that I can actually get on and make sure that the business side of things is running alongside me actually being able to give give the best that I can to my clients, because at the end of the day, they're hiring you and your expertise and your time, and all of the admin and the other things. If you can outsource
Yeah.
them, it's the best thing to do, because yeah, it makes it so much more enjoyable that way.
Yeah, exactly. Same here, same here. Okay, and is there something else you do besides client work, like affiliate websites or stuff like that?
Um, Not at the moment. I do have a couple of sites that I dabble in, but it's nothing kind of
Uh-huh.
on the big side of things. Um, yeah, I mainly use my sites that I do have for testing. I did have
Uh-huh.
a food and lifestyle blog, but I've just not had the chance to kind of update it. I used to be a lot more active in the blogging community, and yeah, it was back in the day. It was great fun, but now it's more of a kind of test and learn platform for me, to obviously
Uh-huh.
test things out for myself and my
Uh-huh.
clients.
Okay, can you share a bit about the SEO testing you do? I'm very curious to learn.
So it's not nothing big scale. It's just things like if something new and interesting and exciting comes along, how much impact is that going to have on the site, that I own? I've not dabbled really in the whole. I know that people do have testing sites. For example, Mark Williams Cook was saying that he had a test site that he puts a lot of kind of AI content on,
Yeah.
and obviously shares the impact of that. So I don't kind of test things as much as that, but it's more the case of kind of testing my skills, seeing if things like certain plugins work. Um, it's almost as they're almost as if they're like kind of staging sites rather than anything
Yeah.
else. Obviously the environment's not going to be exactly the same as my client sites, but if I have sites on the same or similar platforms, then obviously looking and see how things go, that's good for me. And also I kind of use them on a, as I mentioned, the learning side of things. Aside from the testing, it's more kind of me learning more about potentially like the dev side of things,
Uh-huh.
whether it's creating different tests and things. Yeah, there's all different
Yeah.
things that I use these sites for, that I kind of
Yeah.
just play around, and then I guess more the side of tinkering, as we say here in the UK. The tinkering phase is kind of playing around, giving things a test, learning
Uh-huh.
whether things go wrong or not, and seeing how things are there. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
sure, sure. In the past, like I created like tons of websites, like most of them are of course not here any longer, but I still have a bunch. And I would say I do similar things like you. I test this, test that, and I'm not afraid of breaking things up with them.
mm,
I
mm.
created one site purely with AI, but this
Oh
is
no.
still too fresh and I am
Mm,
waiting for things to clear. But I'm seeing now that the site is actually like getting traffic and impressions in GSC. But we'll
cool.
see what happens after like Google gets better and at understanding whether content is actually helpful, and we'll
Mm.
see where it goes. And where do you stand regarding Chat GPT and helping you create content with AI or creating content with AI? Would you recommend that to your clients?
Um, I hate saying it depends.
But we have to
But it
say
really,
that.
but yeah, exactly. I think we have to say that, and I think the issues that do surround it, and I've had a lot of conversations with people about it. There are obviously so many caveats that we need to be kind of communicating with
Mm-hmm.
people, and I'm not scared of it. What I am worried about is so much rubbish being on the internet, and the internet being an even less of a helpful place
Yeah.
because of it. Obviously, just from speaking to people that aren't in the SEO world, and even people in the SEO world, about it, the assumptions that people have about how people think that it's able to crawl the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And things like, it's going to give you the freshest information. It's obviously not going to give you the freshest information. However, for certain things, it might give you inspiration. So, for a while ago, I was playing around with Lex, and again, it's things like, using these tools as a springboard rather than actually creating the content
Yeah.
purely, or being able to kind of create a draft to then go through and edit it and expand on it, rewrite it, make sure that you've got your sources, which again, Chat GPT doesn't have.
Yeah, likes to make them up.
Yeah, and obviously the legal implications with regards to attribution is a big thing. You know, people aren't aware of where this original information's from. And actually, last night I watched a video. I watched lots of YouTube. There's a YouTuber that I watch. Her name's Grace. Her YouTube's Grackle. She does a lot of most of her content isn't SEO based. However, on her most recent video that I watched last night, what she did was she's a trained baker, and she used Chat GPT to create some recipes for her and tested them out just to see, you know, whether they worked or not. Some of them were more successful than others. Let's just say that.
Okay. Yeah.
And then another thing that I find funny is with regards to Chat GPT as well, is I'm quite a creative person and I have a lot of creative hobbies. So I love baking, I love crafting. I love there's a few people that have tested Chat GPT with creating crochet patterns. Now I'm so bad at crocheting. It can create patterns, and obviously people used it and created the things that the patterns were meant to be for, with hilarious consequences. So at the moment it's more of a sense of kind of entertainment for me, rather than being able to create, you know, that good quality content that's going to be really topical, really fresh, really well sourced, and everything to do with Google's obviously what counts as quality content. But yeah, from the amusement side of things, it can be quite funny.
Yeah.
There's a really good talk. There's some really good mentions about Chat GPT at Women in Tech SEO Festival that I was at Friday. And a quote was about Chat GPT is like your friend who's had a few drinks. They will talk about something that's quite, you know, they sound quite knowledgeable, but at the same time there will be massive gaps and there will be things that are wrong. So I would say, yeah, rather than buyer beware, user beware. Make sure that you check your sources, make sure that you source things properly, make sure that you quantify. Well, it's not just about quantifying the quality of the content, but also making sure that you evaluate the quality of the content that you're creating. Do that extra bit of research to get those extra facts in, because obviously that's what we're here for. We're here to create the most helpful, useful content for users and for searchers, and if we're relying on a tool to create every single piece of content, and it's not different from our competitors, then how are we going to be able to stand out?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you know, if you're going to do that, find additional data sources, get quotes from really helpful people, do a little bit of more up-to-date searching to find out this extra information, because at the end of the day we're looking for our EEAT. So how are we going to get that from AI? We're not always going to get it from AI. So yeah, really, if you're going to use it, enhance the content that you create with it as well.
Yeah, exactly. I was also trying to using it to help me create the content for my website. And to be honest, I have to really check every single sentence it writes, because especially with content about SEO, of course it allows me to write faster, to write more, but every single sentence about even a very basic SEO concept like a sitemap, it made so many mistakes that I had to correct everything and ask it to rewrite it. But still, I like to use it because I'm not a native English speaker, and sometimes, and when I ask it to paraphrase, it actually sounds very nice. But yes, I have to be very careful, and I have to, if I want it to talk about a specific aspect of, let's say, a sitemap, I need to feed it with exactly what I want to talk about. And then actually it can make a good job of it. But yeah, I wouldn't just ask it to write and hit publish.
Yeah, there are a few people that are doing that, and it's just like,
I'm doing
That's
it
not the
on a
best way
test
to do it.
site. Yes, on a test
Mm.
site, but on like on the main site, I wouldn't. I
Yeah.
wouldn't do it.
That's the benefit of having a test site. You can do so much and test it and just see, because you're not going to lose anything. Or
Yeah,
if it's obviously, make sure that your test sites aren't, super successful, and they aren't places where you're driving a lot of revenue and a lot of income for yourself. But yeah, if it's just getting traffic, and it's not conversion led, it's kind of pure play informational
yeah,
website. Play around, see what you can do, see what works. And obviously every niche is going to be different as well.
yeah, exactly. So you mentioned you were in at the Women in Tech SEO Festival. So how
Yeah.
was it? Were you a speaker or were you were just attending?
So I was an attendee. I've been to every single one so far. It's
Oh,
always a fantastic event. Yeah.
are you going to the
um,
US one as well?
no, I'm not quite that fanatical about the
Uh-huh.
community.
Okay.
I wish, but obviously I think there's so many people obviously in the US that couldn't come to the UK event,
Yeah.
and obviously being able to give everyone the chance to get a ticket would be, the best
Yeah.
thing. Um, if anyone hears this and wants to kind of contribute or take part, I think the best, and you're not in the US, or you can't travel to the US. One of the things that Women in Tech SEO do, which is fantastic, is you can buy tickets, so you can donate tickets to people who potentially might have been made redundant or might be
Oh,
struggling financially. So there is an opportunity, usually, to be able to purchase a ticket for someone else that might not be being able to get a
for
ticket
this.
otherwise. So yeah, if anyone does want to help out, whether you're in another country or whether you're not a woman, that's one of the best ways to be able to
Okay.
contribute to the community.
Yeah. Okay. And you are based in Brighton, which is
Yes.
like, yeah. So you probably have you been to every Brighton conference so far?
Not everyone, no, but most of them, since I obviously joined the community and started in Brighton,
Yeah.
started working in SEO. I've been to most of them. Yeah, seasoned attendee, I would say, and
Uh-huh.
super passionate. I do have one of the things that I'm really passionate about Brighton, but also about Brighton SEO,
Uh-huh.
is I have a guide on my blog. A lot of people have used it and know it already, but I have a guide on my blog, and also I've created a custom Google map with all of the food, drink, and coffee places that I
Oh,
recommend in that area. Because yeah, I'm a foodie, but I'm also so passionate about small businesses and supporting small
uh-huh.
businesses, and in particular because of the economic um, issues and pressures that everyone's feeling at the moment. Um, it's it's so important to be able to support small business. Check Instagram every day, and there's so much sad news about businesses closing.
Uh-huh.
So obviously being able to, when people do visit Brighton, for them to be able to support small local businesses that aren't too far from the venue, and that create great food, have fantastic services. That's one of my passions.
So you have like your main website about what you do, and do you
Mhm.
also like publish? How often do you publish there?
So yeah, I don't really publish too much on my own blog, on my own website. That's something
Yeah,
I feel like the shoemaker the shoemaker's
yeah.
children. My website's a bit like that. That I do so much for other people, but I don't do enough for
You don't
myself.
have time. Yeah.
Yeah, but with my article with the food, because obviously I do like eating out, going out to eat and trying new places. That's the part of my website that I do try and update as much as I can.
Okay. And how do you get new clients as a freelancer, or or you just have so many of them that you don't even think about getting new ones?
So new client wise, it's a bit of a mixture. I would probably say a lot of my business comes from referrals. So whether that's from other professionals, other SEOs, other digital PRs, um, other people in the marketing industry who know of a business that needs SEO help. Or it might be referrals from other clients. So I've had other
Okay.
clients of mine referring people that they know to me, because obviously they like what I do for them. I also get a few from social media, mainly from Twitter and from LinkedIn, and a few from my site as well. So it's a nice mixture of lots of different things. I don't do too much kind of in-person networking aside from SEO events, and that's something I really want to kind of dip my toes into in the next year or so, because we've got so many kind of networking events and opportunities here in Brighton. But yeah, that's mainly referrals and social media, I would say.
Yeah, the same with me. I haven't really been to an in-person conference about SEO yet, and my first one is going to be in Brighton this year.
Oh, fantastic.
So I hope to meet you there, because I assume
Yeah.
you're going to be there.
It'll be
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, it'll be
yeah,
so good to
yeah.
meet you.
Like I'm also like so curious how it will all look like who will be there, because like yeah, I've been like living under rock for a very long time.
One of the best things about Brighton and about Women in Tech SEO is meeting people that you have either looked up to,
Yeah,
or also people that you've spoken to online and you've never had the opportunity to meet
yeah,
them, whether that's obviously for work or for health or for pandemic. You know, there's so many reasons. So I haven't seen a couple of people um, from the SEO community in a couple of years, and I was able to reconnect with them at Women in Tech SEO last week, which
oh,
was fantastic. It was so nice to catch up with people that I hadn't seen. So, for example, Christina Azarenko, I hadn't seen her since just before, obviously, lockdown and everything happened.
uh-huh,
So the couple of years ago, Women in Tech SEO. So it was great to see her again and some other people that I'd not seen and that were able to travel. And I got to meet some amazing people that I'd spoken to through the community. For example, Tori Gray, who is an
uh-huh.
amazing one, a wonderful woman, and her fantastic team. So yeah, there's so many great people in the community to meet, to go for a coffee with, or to just sit in a talk and chat with. It's one of the best things about the community, definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, I have to wait still like a month or something.
It will
Yeah,
fly by. It will fly by, and you'll have the best time.
yeah, and I'm definitely going to use your guide.
Oh,
Because like I
fantastic!
have
Thank
never
you.
been to Brighton, so this is
Mm,
going to be like super new and
yeah.
interesting to me.
Oh, you'll love it.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me more about your work. So you say you work from like you do all the types of SEO. You are not focused on just like auditing. You are
Mm.
doing everything. So how is it working out for you? What are the challenges? I'm curious to learn, because for me, for example, link building is something that I don't do. I don't have any experience with. So if a client wants link building, I have to look for an external vendor.
So it's a mixed bag, I would say. So the reason why I work across all three pillars is quite an interesting story in itself.
Uh-huh.
So when I was first starting out in my career, I really wanted to find what I was best at and what I enjoyed the most, and I couldn't find it. I enjoyed everything too much. Um, and I
Nice.
wanted to continue with it. I was lucky enough to be given opportunities in the agencies that I worked in to be able to work across the different pillars and to progress my knowledge across different ways. And as someone who, my goal that I set myself before I went freelance was to become a head of department, which obviously I managed to do.
Uh-huh.
But in my head, I was like, I can't be a head of department until I at least knew a little bit about each thing, because I work on the premise that if you don't know too much, if you know a little bit about everything, you're able to consult and give recommendations. And if
Uh-huh.
you aren't the expert in something, then you can refer other people, which is fantastic. However, I find myself working with a lot of smaller clients, and when I worked for smaller agencies, it was the same thing. So I've worked for, you know, the big agencies. So I've worked for Jellyfish and iCrossing on massive blue chip companies, where we see a lot of
Uh-huh.
my work was, although I was doing kind of technical SEO, I was also helping out on the content side of things, giving ideas for campaigns and things.
Hmm.
But then when I was working in smaller agencies, I found myself doing everything anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
Yeah.
I aim. A lot of my clients that I work with are small businesses, and they don't have the ability to kind of work with a technical person and a link builder and a content person. So being able to have someone who could jump between all three of those whenever's
Yeah.
needed, and prioritize what is needed at that time, and be able to kind of have the focus on the business and the business's needs, and divert my expertise wherever is needed. I find that's really, really powerful. One day, so I've got one client, for example, I've been doing my reports and my updating my roadmaps and my monthly updates and things like that of what I'm planning to do this month. For most of my clients, I do a little bit of reactive PR anyway.
Uh-huh.
Which, so, you know, if there's a journalist request, I'm not going to say no, and I'm not going to not put my client forward to get them quoted in a multinational newspaper, for example, or on a specialist website. So I do a little bit of reactive PR for them. And then for a lot of my clients, for this one in particular, I'm doing an internal linking audit. I'm doing some page speed work. And I'm also planning out some content pillars for them.
Okay.
So it's a mixed bag, but I think for them as a small business, having someone that's just specialised in one particular pillar of SEO isn't always beneficial for them. But I obviously can bring to the team kind of like the ability to give the overview, but also from my experience, and now I've got quite a bit of
Yeah.
experience,
Quite a
I'm
few.
able to work across the different sections. People like me do exist. I think some people are like, oh, you can't be jack of all trades and master of one. However, I think if you've got the passion and the interest, then you can do really, really well at the holistic side of SEO.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, as I mentioned before, if there is something that I can't do for whatever reason, I bring in a specialist. So, for example, if there's dev fixes that need doing, bring in a developer. And yeah, if there's if there's anything that I can't do, setting up HubSpot, things like that, I'll bring in a specialist, and
Uh-huh.
then I can focus on what actually can be paid off for the clients. But yeah, I mean, for some clients, I do specialize in certain areas, but for a lot of them, because they are small businesses or they do have small teams, I am a lot of the time the person for them.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so again, quite similar to me. I thought
Mm,
like because I also like have to sometimes do for example optimizations for speed
mm,
or
mm.
stuff like that, and sometimes
Yeah.
I need a developer to do some
Mm,
things.
mm, mm.
But you are probably more technical than I am, I assume. Do you do some coding? Like, do you have some coding knowledge, experience?
Yeah, so that from my teaching days.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So there's a little bit from my teaching days. So being able to kind of bring those kinds of experiences in, I think obviously a lot of people do choose to specialize with their work, which is absolutely fine. But for the clients that I like to work with, being able to bring
Yeah,
a lot of variety is so beneficial for them, and to be able to kind of trust one person across the
yeah,
board, and focus on and prioritize what's best for their business at that time. Yeah, Because, for
Exactly.
example, if they didn't have a technical SEO, and for example, they might have I'm taking a real life example,
Uh-huh.
where a dev error had caused a lot of canonicalization issues. Um,
Uh-huh.
if they didn't have someone with the expertise to do that, then obviously me coming in and saying, oh, I instead of briefing some content pieces this month, I really need to divert my time onto this now. And then next month we can move on to the
Yeah.
next bit. And obviously when they've got quite a small budget, I'm able to do that for them.
Yeah. I've been there as well. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I think so many of us have been there,
Yeah.
especially freelance. You can't. There are people that are lucky enough to be able to specialize, which is fantastic. But at the same time, having that kind of almost a fractional head of SEO to bring into your business and really kind of work across the board is so beneficial for many small and medium-sized businesses.
Yeah, totally. So you do a lot of those things, but if you were to name one, like a favorite thing you do in your SEO work job, what would it be?
I think it would be content, as
Uh-huh.
in not writing content, but the strategic side of things.
Oh.
I'm always so fascinated about content design. That's something that I've been reading a lot about at the moment, not just on the SEO side of things, because obviously content design goes across the board, across SEO, across UX, across so many different facets, and being able to create really impactful micro copies and things like that. That's something that I've been interested in reading up on at the moment.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I would say content strategy, being able to work with like really talented writers, to be able to do the research and to really make sure that the content on someone's website actually helps people. Because you can create content as much as you like, but if it's not going to help people, then
Yeah.
what's the point in creating it?
Yeah, exactly. And if it's not like optimized at all for anything, then even if it's helpful, people won't find it.
Yeah, exactly. And then I always have the analogy of like a website. I do have a few analogies, but a website I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's like a house. And if you don't upkeep it, then certain things could go wrong. So if your kitchen is broken, then
Yeah.
there's issues. If your bathroom is broken, then there's issues. If your bed is broken, then and it's the same with a website. So
Yeah.
if there's not good content, that people might not link to your website.
Exactly.
If the technical side of your website doesn't work, for whatever reason, so people aren't going to find that content anyway. Google's not going to find that content, so you're going to have to kind of amp up your other channels. But yeah, it's so important for me to kind of be able to bring the insight that I can wherever's needed, whenever it's needed. And I'm meeting more and more people that do the same thing. And it's growing. There are more people, obviously diverse, like kind of bringing the diverse route into SEO, where you're covering the holistic side of things, so all three pillars. But there's also people who are really kind of investing and really the words I've lost the word now really specializing in specific things as well, which is
Mm-hmm.
fantastic to see too.
Yeah, can you unpack a little bit more about your for creating the strategy for content and like how do you create pillar pages or do you create virtual silos? Like what's your approach there?
So a lot of the time I work on, I guess, hub and spoke theory.
Uh-huh.
A lot of clients that I have do have, maybe in a previous life or now,
Uh-huh.
have experience in marketing. So some of my clients, for example, are software as a service,
Mm-hmm.
they're software as a service products, and So they do have a lot of them are experienced marketers or have experienced marketers in their team. So they know about content pillars. However, they don't know about content pillars on the kind of the SEO side of things.
Uh-huh.
And being able to work with them and really kind of sit down with them, and they're able to plan out obviously fantastic content calendars, and I'm kind of like helping them put the icing on the cake, because it's like we could have lots and lots of pieces of content that could do really, really well, and it's taken them the next step further. I do a lot of educating, so obviously going back to the teaching again, training in-house teams on how to impactfully use SEO. And also that it's really kind of important for people, whether they're an experienced marketer themselves, whether they're a junior, or whether they've got nothing to do with marketing or don't want anything to do with marketing and want to just, you know, if they're a developer or they want to write all day, to be able to understand, you know, what I'm here for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think from the content strategy side of things, I do a lot of research. Looking at competitor gaps is a big one for me, but also looking at just general gaps in the market. I use a lot of different tools to find out what is trending, not just obviously for Google, but also on social media channels. So looking at what's working, what people are searching for on TikTok, looking at what hashtags are trending and what content is trending on Twitter and on Instagram as well. Because a lot of the time, from the digital PR side of things and from the link acquisition side of things, being able to create content that feeds into a certain trend or an emerging trend really, really can be beneficial. And that's not obviously just to think of your kind of like your stereotypical, you know, fashion e-commerce brand. That is, it could be, you know, a really niche client that you can really find some really, really helpful and important content that's shared on social media, that might not even be on someone's radar. For example, if someone's not in the SEO world, they have no idea that there's a whole group of people on Twitter just talking about SEO. They just don't know. And it's finding those kinds of things that people are talking about and actually, you know, feeding that in, because again, going back to the authority, these people might be looking up to my clients, or the clients might be looking to build their authority in a specific niche, and creating content that's either on trending topics or on things that people are searching for, but they're not satisfied with the content that they're finding. So I do a lot of research. I work with my clients as well. So one of the things I learned from in-house was to work with your customer service and customer success teams, especially, as I mentioned, with SaaS, because they get so many questions every single day from who? Our customers, and who do we need to orient the content to? Obviously potential customers, but existing customers too. So speaking to your customer service, but also your customer success teams is so important. Finding out those questions, because, you know, as there's so much discussion going on at the moment, and as I mentioned previously, Mark Williams-Cook and the team are also asked, really, really kind of honing in on the zero search, where, you know, the tools will say there's no one searching for a specific keyword. However, that's through 12 months, you know. It could be that in 1 month, 8 people who have got a really strong intent are searching for that specific phrase or keyword, and that could mean, for example, for a SaaS company, that could mean tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of contracts, that these people are actively searching for answers, and getting that confirmation bias from those brands that are taking up that SERP real estate. So it's so important to kind of find all of those little opportunities that my clients can create really, really good, helpful content about. And obviously you've got your standard stalwart content. and you've got your, obviously, your business news and things like that, but really creating helpful content that ranks, that acquires links itself, but is also great for opportunities for building links, whether it's reactive, whether it's outreaching, and yeah, that's built on a really strong technically sound site. That's obviously it's the dream, and that's what I'm trying to get for all of my clients.
Yeah, nice. So many tips, so many knowledge bombs you dropped. That's nice. Okay, tell me, how does your day look like? When do you start working? When do you end? Is every day like the same or is it different? Do you work over weekends?
My days are, it's a weird one. So I'm a creature of habit a lot of the time. So I try and work as many hours, well, not as many hours, but I try and stick to a timetable, and I block my time out, because what I do is I find myself, and I think it's a neurodivergent thing, and I know it is, where I can get easily distracted. So I need to keep my focus. But sometimes I get a bit too focused. So for example, today, I've been working on a content strategy for a client. I've been really getting into it, and then I've been setting up some reports, and then I went on to something else, and then I got to 3 o'clock and I didn't realize that I hadn't eaten my lunch.
Yeah, I have the same thing. Yeah, exactly. Like today I had my lunch at 2:30 p.m. because a similar thing.
Yeah. So I can get really kind of hyper fixated on getting things done. It's just because a lot of the time I enjoy it, and I don't want to stop doing what I'm doing, because at the same time I don't want to lose my focus in what I'm doing. Sometimes, as a way to cope with it, another tip, if you find that you do that a lot, but you need to take a break, obviously have your pen and paper beside you and write down exactly what you're doing before you go. So my office, for example, up here, so my office is away from the rest of my house. So my house is on 3 floors. I'm on the 3rd floor in the attic, and my kitchen is right down the bottom. So I can't just get up and make myself something to eat. I do have a coffee machine, however.
Okay.
But again, it's being able to find ways that work for you. I know some people who will only work in the evenings, or some people that work every morning of the week, and then the rest of their time, even on the weekends, they'll work in the mornings. So I think it's really finding the time that works for you. So sometimes I'll find myself, if I do get distracted, or I do have to move my work around to either prioritize things for a client, or if I feel like I am struggling on a piece of task, or struggling to focus on a piece of work, then I will move it to another day, and sometimes that might be a Sunday. However, that's the charm of freelance. I'm able to do that. Whereas if I was working in-house or in an agency, as someone who has been very strict with her team in the past about working the hours that you're specified to do, obviously I had to give a good example, and yeah, I would obviously wouldn't be working late into the evenings or on a weekend. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why I love being able to freelance, is that if I feel like my brain is overloaded and I don't want to do the work that I'm doing at that point, and I can move it to the next day, or I can just finish work and just go for a walk, or go to the shops, or go and watch my favorite TV program, I can do that, which is great. But my day usually, as I'm a creature of habit, I do usually kind of start around 8ish and finish any time between 5 and 6. So not too long a day, but at the same time long enough to be able to to really kind of get those focus periods in if I need to.
And how many hours of focus do you aim, or are you able to get like the maximum per day? Because I've been also trying to adapt different ways, because I am not sure if you heard about those buffer days and focus days. This method, I've been trying this, but it's not really working for me. And I'm now
Mm,
thinking about doing focus hours
mm.
before 11, 12 p.m. and then doing buffer days in the afternoon. And how do you approach that?
I don't really have like, yeah, I
You
don't
don't
really
have
have
like a
anything like that.
system.
No, no, I'm a time blocker instead. So I'll block specific amounts of time to work on specific tasks. So I do have kind of limitations for myself. So if I do, and I will have calendar notifications to tell me that in half an hour I need
Yeah.
to be finishing up and moving on to the next task. Um, so yeah, I think that's the best way that I kind of work around things. I think every day's different, and as someone who has chronic illnesses, it's so important for me to obviously listen to my body and
Yeah.
be able to move things around. If I do get tired, or I do get pain, or I'm just not feeling it, or again I don't have the focus, then I'm able to kind of move that time around. And I think it's what works for you. Some people, Pomodoro works absolutely
Yeah.
perfect for them. However, for me, that was absolutely chaos, absolute
Yeah.
chaos.
For me as well.
Um,
I also tried that.
I just get so distracted by doing other things, and then I want to go back to my work, and then I end up working for 3 hours, and then going, oh, I should have taken like six
Yeah.
breaks by now,
Yeah.
but I hadn't. But yeah, I think finding that sweet spot is so important. Testing out lots of different methods, speaking to other people. Some people I know, they organise their work like me in blocked time. Some people will just see how things go, and then
Yeah.
the work takes a certain amount of time, then it takes a certain amount of time. However, I need to, I need to be strict with myself, and the structure really kind of helps on that side of things.
Yeah. Yeah. This the same with me. Tell me, how do you stay up to date with SEO? How much time do you spend learning? Because I see that you spend a lot of time learning. I have a feeling.
I don't learn as much as I would like to.
Hmm.
Um, there's a lot of, I think learning comes in so many different ways. That's my education side of thing coming through again. So that obviously different people, different types of learners. When
Yeah.
I back in the day when I was learning like pedagogy, I learned about different learning styles. And for me, um, I'm a kinesthetic learner. So I learn from doing. And I think a
Uh-huh.
lot of people in SEO are the same, because obviously you have to test, you have to learn. Um, Obviously, there are some fantastic resources out there. And obviously, I train people too. So that, there's so
Yeah.
many different things, and there's different ways in which you can learn and you can develop your skills. It's not just about kind of reading books and reading blogs and learning that way, but you can learn by talking to people, you can learn by
Yeah.
attending talks, watching seminars, attending online events, um, even
Yeah.
reading, Twitter threads and things like that. There's a lot of the SaaS, especially the software tools for SEOs, and a lot of the kind of, obviously with Twitter going the way that it is, a lot of people kind of moving slightly away from focusing all of their efforts on kind of creating content. Like SEMRush used to have, the chats. There's the SEO chat and things like that, where people can bounce ideas off each other. There's fantastic communities again with women in tech SEO. There's the mentoring schemes
Yeah.
that are out there. So Women in Tech SEO has a mentoring scheme, and I'm a mentor, and I've got a mentee. Hi Leanne. And also, there's lots of people that you could reach out to, that you could speak to about mentoring, because sometimes the best learning is just from sitting and talking to someone.
Yeah.
And yeah, kind of bouncing ideas off each other, testing and learning things, working on things together. I think there's so many ways in which we can learn about our job, which is great. I've got friends who work in medicine, and there's only certain ways that they can learn about what they need to do for
Yeah.
their exams and things. And if someone struggles with reading things online or reading from textbooks, there are some options for them, but we're very lucky in terms of what kind of resources there are. I think obviously we're content hungry people, and content is a massive thing for us. But obviously, you know, being able to have a diverse range of different kind of sources of information and ways of learning, yeah, I think that's really important. But yeah, for me, I keep up with news. I read things on Twitter. Obviously, read things like, you know, your standard search engine land, search engine roundtable for all your SEO news. Reading things on Content Marketing World, attending talks, really connecting with the community, and just getting nerdy with friends as well.
Yeah. I noticed that interviewing people like I do it with you, it's so powerful, and I learned so much. I didn't even
Yeah,
expect this to be this way.
yeah,
Way
and
more
there's
than I get. Yeah.
yeah, like I love podcasts as well. So
Yeah.
I am a big fan of listening to podcasts, whether it's SEO related or not.
Yeah,
So
me
yeah, for
too.
example, like the Chat GPT things, I don't just listen to SEO podcasts about it. I listen to kind of more social anthropological podcasts about it
Uh-huh.
too. There's a couple of kind of more social anthropological podcasts that used to run. So one of my favorite ones has actually stopped now, which is really sad.
Oh, okay.
But it's still they've still got their mailing lists. So if anyone wants
Mm-hmm.
kind of something that's not to do with SEO, but it's to do with the internet and posting and all kinds of things like that, Garbage Day is fantastic. But yeah,
Okay.
they used to have there was a podcast called The Content Mines, and it was just everything about just anything that was going on in the world of the internet. So there would be podcasts about going to an NFT conference as a
Uh-huh.
person that knew nothing about NFTs, or there was someone talking about the latest thread on Twitter that was angering everyone, or it would be about new technology, or there's so many ways that you can kind of suck up all of this content. I
Yeah.
just don't have enough time in the day to do it, unfortunately. It's just
Yeah.
being able to take advantage of all the content that's out there.
Yeah, totally. And one last question. What
Mhm.
do you think is the area of SEO people aren't focusing enough on and they should start in 2023 and moving forwards?
Oh gosh, that's a difficult. Do you know what? It's none of the tech content or links.
Uh-huh, okay.
Actually just speaking to each other between teams. So for
Yeah.
example, um, I was part of a panel a good few years ago, and it's about the intersection of SEO and PR.
Uh-huh.
And we were talking about, so someone was talking and they said, oh, it's from the audience, and they were just like, yeah, I get the I get what you're saying, because SEOs want to get so many things fixed, and I want to get my campaigns live, and we're fighting against each other constantly. And what do we do to get buy-in? And it was just like, well, work together, speak to each other, and kind of, combine your efforts. And I think, yeah, as much as people try to silo the different pillars of SEO, because obviously, businesses have different departments. They'll have their PR and their digital PR. Not sometimes in some businesses they'll have kind of digital PR managers who don't even speak to their PR people.
Yeah.
But I think communication doesn't have to be, going to someone's desk, because we're working in a hybrid and remote world now. But being able to communicate and work together, because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. You shouldn't be on a digital PR team and see the technical SEOs as a threat, because we've got enough threats that we need to work against already. We've got finance teams to work against. We've got developers who will always be pushing back our recommendations. We'll have people that will come in and tell us that SEO doesn't matter. We've got enough issues to deal with, to then kind of decide on rivalry with different pillars of SEO and different departments. Yeah, I'm not keen on that. So obviously one of the best ways around it is to just work together, speak to each other, see what you can do to get buy-in. You know, you might be able to package things up if you're in an agency and you're working with a client that isn't quite over the line with something that you want to get implemented. And really work together, because you never quite know who's in those teams and what kind of talent and expertise there
Yeah.
is hiding away.
Yeah, great insight. So, Natalie, where can people find you? What's the best place to follow you and get in touch with you?
So I'm on Twitter. My Twitter handle is __NTA. You can also
Uh-huh.
find me on LinkedIn, Natalie Arney. I'm on Mastodon, which is the same as Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And also on my website, nataliearney.com. That's
Okay.
ARN for November EY. It's taken me
Okay.
back to my travel days.
Okay. So thank you. It was very nice talking to you. As I said, I learned a ton, and I think people learned a ton too. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me, Olga. It's been
Yes.
a pleasure. And
Yeah.
hopefully see you in Brighton.
Yeah, definitely. That's the plan. Yeah. So thank you, everyone, and see
Thank
you in the
you.
next episode. Bye bye.
Bye.